Hello, church. Here I am in the auditorium. It seems really strange to be sitting in here all by myself. But in the last 4 weeks, this is something that I've done on a fairly regular basis. I come here earlier on in the mornings, and I just come in here, I sit down. I take some time to be silent, take some time to reflect, some time to be still and to simply stop. Because I recognize that when I come in and I think of the day that is ahead of me, I know that there's so many things that are calling for me to put my hand to it. But I realize that it's so important just to, at this time, stop. We all know that there's different things in our lives that have been changed. Many of the things that you were doing may not be the same. We have different things, time priorities. For some of you, you might be spending more time outside. You might be doing yard work. You might be going for walks. For others of you, you might be watching more television. You may be spending more time on the computer. You may be getting things done that you've always wanted to get done. You've had this checklist, and you're finally getting these things done. For others of you, you're baking more. You're eating more. Whatever it is, we're filling these slots in our lives, and our lives are becoming busy in the things that we have been doing. And one of the things that God has been challenging me in this time is to just take the time to stop and to focus on Him and to be silent. And that's one of the reasons why I've been coming in here. To stop. To be still. As a church, one of the things that we've been focusing on is saying, take some time to acknowledge God. In Isaiah chapter 6, we're told that the seraphim say, the earth is filled with the glory of God. And the questions that I sometimes ask is, does my life reflect that I'm living in light of that? Soren Kierkegaard told a parable of a lit carriage in a starlit night. And the parable goes something like this. He said there was once a wealthy man on a starlit night who wanted to go out into the country and wanted to see the beauty of the stars in the heaven. And so he proceeded to get into his carriage, and on his carriage were these two lanterns. These lanterns gave him a sense of safety, a sense of security. In fact, they took away fear, they dispelled fear. They lit his path, they showed him to where he was supposed to go. And as he got out into the countryside and he looked up into the heavens, it wasn't what he expected. The stars weren't as brilliant as he thought or imagined they would have been. But the reality is the stars were brilliant. The stars were magnificent. But what was hiding their magnificence and their brilliance was the light of his lanterns. Soren Kierkegaard goes on to say that we are like this man who rides a carriage out into this country. And we look up and we want to see the glory of God. And we too have these lanterns. And as long as the artificial light from these lanterns are around our head, the sky overhead appears to be empty of the glory of God. And we don't see the magnificence for what it is. And what we need is God's Spirit to come along in a gracious wind and to blow out these lights so that we can see how truly magnificent God is. And as we've gone through these last 4 weeks, I've wondered if it's been God's way of showing His grace and blowing out some of these lights that take up our time. So that we would stop and that we would reflect and that we would be silent and we would look up to the heavens and we would see the greatness and the glory of God. That we would see Him for who He is. And as we see Him for who He is, that we would examine our hearts and say, God, what are you doing in me? But my concern is this. My concern is that we will find other things that will give us light. My concern is that we too quickly fill our lives with busyness in other ways. And so that's why I've been trying to come here early. to be quiet, to be still, to seek God, and saying, God, what are you wanting to show me? What are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to do in your church through this? My encouragement to you this morning is this, is that you would take some time to carve out a place where you can go and be still, and be silent, and reflect. Ask God to show you his magnificence, acknowledge his greatness, and as he does that, that you would say, God, show me my heart. Help me to be still and know that you are God, but more than that, create in me your heart. That's the challenge. And I encourage you to be quiet before him. God bless you. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.